Hello, hello, and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. This podcast is a place where we explore what it really means to live with intention, to lead from the heart, and to walk through a life with a deeper connection to mind, body, and soul. And whether I'm sitting down with a guest or just sharing what I'm learning in real time, my hope is that you'll hear something that invites you back to yourself. So take a deep breath, let's drop in, and here's today's conversation. I'm joined today with Julie Scott. And Julie came to me today to talk about the unexpected death of her sister Kim back in December of 22 and how that pivotal moment rocked her world. Kim describes it as one of those experiences that can either take you down or lift you up. And I choose to see the blessings in it. It also led her to a deeper spiritual connection with herself and God universe that has become the foundation of everything for her. Julie is a life coach and certified hypnotherapist. And Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Brenda. I really appreciate you having me on.
I'm so excited to have you here, even though that we're going to be talking about a heavy moment, right? Like losing
Yeah.
someone, grief is a heavy moment. Yet, what I've come to learn for myself through my own journey is that grief touches everyone in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And maybe it hasn't hit our listener yet in the form of losing someone they love, but there will come a time when that will happen because that is the cycle of life. It's going to hit us and happen. So let's start talking about it, talking about
Yeah.
that moment. So you've been listening, and our listeners know we just dive right in. We just go to
Yes.
that pivotal time. We don't, nothing shallow. We don't
Yeah.
talk surface here. We just go right in. So, Julie, can you bring us back to that moment that shifted within you when your sister died and what was going on and a little bit about that time?
Yeah. Well, I got to just say, it was December 10th that she passed away in 2022. And we had just been together 2 weeks prior at her house in Sedona, the whole family for
Mm,
Thanksgiving. In fact, she had never had Thanksgiving dinner at her house with the whole family. So it was really a pivotal moment. And it was just so great. And what a blessing that we're all
yeah.
together. Right? And very unexpected, that she passed after that. We had no warning. She was just not feeling well, went in to run some tests, and before you know it, 2 days later, she was gone. It was just really I don't wanna go
Wow.
into the details of that, but it was very traumatic. But, it really rocked me. I'd only lost my father before that. I still have my mother. She just turned 90 last Sunday. And, but losing a sister, I'm one of 4 girls, right? I'm the
Mm,
youngest of 4, no other siblings, and we were a unit, the 4 of us, so close. In fact, I didn't even really need to have girlfriends growing up because I was so close to my sisters. They were always and especially Kim, because my oldest sister and my sister closest to me are very similar, and Kim and I were very similar, and so I
mm,
felt like I lost my ride or die friend,
mm,
when she left, and it really like I said, it was one of those times where I'm like, "Okay, I can go down into the pit of despair here and never crawl out," and that thought crossed my mind a lot. Um, but I had already been working on myself for quite a few years, and I knew that this was an opportunity to rise up if I wanted to, and I also felt strongly that out of my entire family, I had the ability in me to be the strong one, to lift others
mm,
up, and so I picked up something that I had been threatening to pick up for a long time, and it's A Course in Miracles workbook. Now, I've been studying A Course in Miracles through a gentleman named Alan Cohen who's written about it. Marianne Williamson also has written quite a bit about it. But in fact, I started with a book called A Course in Miracles Made Easy, and it was just something, kind of like for dummies, It was kind of like one of those things that I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it really shifts the way that you look at life like 180 degrees.
mm,
Being brought up in a religious home, right? Um, I kinda walked away from the religion in my teens because it just didn't make sense to me that I had to feel so guilty if God was
mhm.
a loving God, I don't believe it just didn't make sense, the whole fear of hell and all this and that, and so that losing Kim really helped me to turn to this. It's called the Workbook for Students and Manual for Teachers, and I started going through it a day, and it's for every day. It's a 365-day study,
Wow.
and that I'm so thankful that that was put in front of me again just about 2 months after she passed. I picked that up and I dove into it, and it really connected me on such a deeper level with my own spirituality, my own, and I even redefined my spirituality again. I deepened my understanding of all that is and how I am I just got chills, that I am a sliver of God. I am a part of the whole, and, um, and so with Kim and everything, we're all energy and we're all connected, and even though she's gone, she's still here,
Right.
and I was the only one in my family that was thinking like this or talking like this, and so, and I meditate every day, and it started happening that when I would go into my meditations, I would hear her laughter,
Mm,
and it was just like it was so healing just to
yeah.
hear her laughter,
Yeah.
just to reconnect with her that way, and I shared a lot of my experiences and my meditations with my family, and at first they looked at me like I'm nuts, which is kinda common, but at the same time, they started to look forward to what I shared with them.
Mm,
And then they started having some of their own experiences, not in meditation, but just feeling her presence, noticing things, maybe little signs, maybe
yes.
noticing her in a hummingbird or whatever, a
Yeah.
sparrow or something.
Yeah.
And I know that it brought a lot of comfort to my family for me to be able to share these experiences.
Mm. Thank
That's
you for
kinda
sharing that.
absolutely.
So I loved how you said you've been on this healing journey. So how you kind of chose to approach it, her death and moving forward was slightly different, right? Because of your healing journey. And yet my am I right to guess that your family probably wasn't there?
You mean on the same healing journey?
Right. Or they looked at the death and
Oh, completely different.
yeah.
Yeah,
Can you talk a little bit about that and like your emotions, just being able to observe that and see that and what were you able to do?
well, first of all, I have learned through my own spiritual growth that I am not, in fact, my body. My body is, in fact, a servant and a vessel for me to
Yes.
experience life through. And I can see that the difference between me and my family is that they believe that they are their body. Right,
Mm,
they're
mhm.
identifying with the body, and I get that, most people do, it's what is tangible, it's what you can see, feel, touch, we experience through our senses, and they are through our body.
Yes.
But I have been able, through my study and through my deep meditations, understand that I am not limited to this body, and
Mhm.
it isn't something that I can share with them because they're not ready. They're just not.
Right.
I believe everyone has to wake up to this understanding in their own time.
Yeah.
Um, and I know this because I've tried to explain these things to them in the past. Not that I wouldn't. But yeah, I just know there's you just it's the old me, which would try and change other people. I know better
Yeah.
now. I can't change
Yeah.
anyone but me.
Yeah.
So I think that um that's the difference. Did I answer the question? That I could see the difference between us that way.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I completely resonate with you too. And I think that I know that when my son died, and because of my own spiritual journey, how I viewed death, how I viewed life and death and our time on this earth. Again, just like you, 180-degree difference than maybe other people around see
Yep.
it. So I completely resonate with that. Can you think back to that time and this, I'm going to put it this way. This question may not be yours because of your different, but your family who it was not on that journey, thoughts, patterns, stories that showed up. How did you handle those kinds of things?
Well, I gotta share something with you. I met with a medium who's a friend of mine. She doesn't do it for a living. She just does it for friends and
Yep.
family, right? And so I met with her after this, and I had a very wonderful connection and closure thing with my sister through that whole thing. And
Hmm.
it was kind of around, you know, her death and what happened and all this other stuff. Um and so having that knowledge and understanding of what really, was the last thoughts of Kim as a person, as a human in this form,
Yep.
um, and trying to share a little bit of that in a loving way with my family was really challenging, I'll just say, because they just are, again, still very caught in the body, the 3D here. And
Yes.
again, the religion and that, it's just very it just is very confining for your thought process if you don't open yourself up to believing in something more than what you've been taught your whole life. So, I think that that was probably the toughest thing for me was not sharing in full all of the information that I learned
Mm.
about her experience because they just weren't open to it. Later, though, one of my sisters did ask me more about it, and I was able to share more details. But again, it's just the difference between they're caught up in the body and the emotions and the mind and the thoughts and the feelings, and I'm more connected to that spiritual, the divine, and that
Yeah.
side of it that just opens you up to
Yeah.
not fearing it.
Yeah. I'm
Not
so
fearing
right
it,
there with you.
frankly. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm so right there with you. And it's interesting because we haven't shared our stories, but I did the same. I had the same experience after my son died. I had
Oh.
got a psychic medium friend approached and said, do you want me to connect with this source energy? And I'm like, hell yeah, I've been asking the
Yes.
universe for you in my head. So and what came down, like the messages from him about what he was here to do and what he came to
Mm.
do. And I knew my life was going to be short. I came to chase the high. I didn't, because I didn't know that I could find the high in a different way. So, so I just took that as, well, now that your soul's eternal, you realize you could have gone back to that frequency and vibration by going within, right? Going
Yep.
and so again, that for me is also what flipped me 108. Like I look at life and death differently. I don't my view on heaven and hell has
Oh,
completely changed.
yep. Me
My
too.
my belief that, I have the same um religious issues that you did. Like, how can you
Ah,
tell me I'm a sinner or that I'm guilty and
or
there's
this
only one
newborn
way?
baby, this
And you're,
born sinner
yeah,
baby. What? That makes no
yes,
sense.
yes. And religion yeah, I won't go there, but such similar paths. And so um, I have only shared my story pretty much in the public world and not even with my family. So
Oh,
I completely understand and get you because they
yeah.
aren't ready.
Yep. They aren't ready.
They aren't ready, and it's not a safe place for me. So
Yeah, and it will just upset them.
yes. And again, I think just kind of what you've talked about, if you're not ready, it's part of this awakening, the spiritual journey that we're on, this to me, this mastery of being human, right?
Yes.
But
Mm.
also and this point of evolving our soul, because that's what I do believe we're here to do, is for me to recognize you're not ready and accept that about you. So the forcing, the trying to change or trying to get you to move into something you're not ready for, like that is against my integrity of my
Yes.
journey.
Yes. I feel the same. And I've been revisiting some powerful books that I've read in the past, and I think it's always good for me to revisit them because I've changed and I've grown since I read them the first time, and I'm just listening to The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav
Mm,
again. And he talks so much about everything that you were just saying that we all have a journey that we're on, and we're all going to evolve to wake up and and become enlightened, I guess is what you would
right,
call it.
right.
And we can also choose to delay that for as long as we'd like for, this lifetime or 7 lifetimes. But and because there is no time anyways, right? So
Mhm.
it's just whenever that the time is for you, whenever it is right for the individual to awaken, that's when it's going to
Yeah.
happen. Everyone will eventually awaken, and it's not my job to force anyone to try, and I can't do it anyway. So it's just interesting. The more that I grow and learn and change and wake up and connect deeper, I can see it in other people so clearly. And
Mhm.
I just instead of feeling even sorry for them, I just send them love because
Yes.
that's one of the chief things that I've learned. It's like when people behave badly, it's a call for love. When and otherwise they're giving love, right? It's like we can
Right.
only do that. There is only love.
Oh, that's I love that. The just that thought of that changing that of the poor behavior is a call for love. Oof.
Yes.
There's
It makes
that's
sense.
powerful.
Because
Yes.
if you think about it, if you because the biggest problem we all have is we don't love and accept ourselves.
Mm,
Period. That's it. Because we bought into the idea that we're not good enough, not, a sinner, whatever it was from
yeah.
our youth,
Yeah.
right? But if you think about it, the more and I've learned this for myself, the more that I love and accept myself, I am so much more loving and giving and patient and compassionate and caring and open, right? And I realize that that's the answer. If we
Yeah.
all would just work on ourselves and learn to love and accept ourselves, we wouldn't be so, hateful. We would
Yeah.
never want to harm another being, human, animal, anything, or even earth.
Right. Yes. Yes.
It's I mean, I
Yes.
hate to say it, but all we need is love. I mean, I know that sounds so hokey and hippie-ish and but it's like that is it. And that is what since Kim passed away has been the chief message that has been coming through for me day
Mm,
after day after day in my meditations, what comes to me for my journaling, what comes through me in my trainings for my business, my clients, and it's like love,
yeah.
and it's such a simple thing, but we it's like it can't be that easy.
I'm going
Can't
to
be.
say
It's
it's
like
such a simple thing, but we have gotten so far away from it. This
yeah,
judgment is a thread that has been in my family tree for
yes,
generations. And
same.
thankfully, I'm the lucky one who gets to break this thread of judgment
Me
generational
too.
curse. Like, whew. And we are, it is so easy. And I think once you've become aware of it, it is now so blatant and so obvious when I see it in others. Now, I have some
Same,
fabulous friends who reflect, Brenda, are you judging yourself? Like, because I can't
yeah,
always see it in me, right?
of course.
Yeah, but it's become so like blatantly obvious and clear this thread of judgment and shame
Mm,
and guilt and
yes,
all of that,
guilt.
all
Yes.
just tangled, enmeshed in so many expressions of
Mm,
who they are, right? And
yep.
so we would just take what your powerful words were if we just look at those that we meet and enmesh them instead in love and grace and acceptance, right? Like that, how would that then begin to unravel the thread of
Well,
judgment and guilt and shame?
and I gotta tell you, I see it in real time because I go out in the area that I live here, and I go out to networking events to meet new people and, just to connect with people. And this is funny, but like I pick the scariest looking person in the room, and I walk up to them, and I just let love lead. I just
Mm,
imagine I fill my heart with love, and I just imagine that it's radiating out from me. And I walk up to this person, just not beaming like a crazy woman, but with a pleasant look on my face. And I walk up and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Julie. It's nice to meet you." And and it happens 100% of the time. Their whole exterior just softens. They
mm,
soften and they melt in, and you can just see the teddy bear or the scared little girl or whatever it is that's just
yeah.
hiding behind that tough exterior that is just waiting to feel love.
Mm.
And I mean, I
And seen?
if you would have told me 10 years ago I would have been talking about this stuff, it's been like, no way.
Oh, I'm
Because
so with you there.
I mean, I was in a completely different place, but I can attest that if you just start looking within and understand this whole mind, body, soul mastery thing, and I love this whole concept of your podcast, it's like everything is connected. You'll
Yes.
notice that your body responds to your mind, to your emotions, to your and when you are in alignment, and I just got chills again, when you're in alignment with what your soul really desires for you, everything just falls into place. It's
Mhm.
like it feels like magic. It really
Mhm.
does.
Mhm.
But it's just what is meant to be, and it's about to me, it's so much just about surrendering and just allowing myself to be led. It's such a relief. I mean, it's scary though because we don't
Oh,
know how to
yes.
not be, right? It's hard to not know how to be, how you've been for what's your
Right.
go-to way of being to protect yourself or whatever, but, oh, man, when you let go and you just surrender and I'm honestly, I'm thankful now. It's gonna sound nuts. I'm thankful that my sister passed away now because
Mm.
it brought me here.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel ya. I feel ya. And I know exactly how you feel.
Ooh,
And yeah.
it's yeah. I'm so thankful. It really has been life-changing, and I think that that's an important thing for people to understand that you can take the worst thing that's ever happened to you and turn it into the best thing that's ever happened to you. It's
Well,
absolutely possible.
absolutely. And so to me, that is one of those perspective and mind shifts when you begin on this healing journey, right? You know, we can choose to stay in victim mode in our suffering and believe that life is happening to me.
Yep,
I could have sat with my son died from, an overdose. Why in the
mm,
fuck did this happen to me? Why? Why in
yeah,
the fuck, right? Like who I could have sat there.
yep,
You could have sat there with your sister. She
yeah,
wasn't at the age that it would normally go. Why is
mm,
this happening? Why, we could have sat in that suffering of why. But when you can get to that point of being able to flip it and simply
mm,
ask yourself, like, what is in this for me? It
yes,
sucks that my son died. It sucks that your sister died.
yep,
Essentially, like probably one of your best friends. It
yes,
sucks that
absolutely.
she died, that she's not here, and that she's not walking the rest of life with you.
Mm.
Yet there was something for you in it, and
Oh,
you found it.
yeah, something
You tapped
tremendous.
into it. Yeah. Yeah.
Tremendous, yeah. So many. Honestly, I could sit here all day with you and tell you about the wonderful things that have come from it, how much closer I am with my other 2 sisters, how much closer I am with my mother, which
Mm,
is a huge thing, right? Just I feel so much closer to her and just how we've all changed, and I've watched
yeah.
my other 2 sisters really soften, and
Yeah.
they've come my way, which is so wonderful.
That's so beautiful.
And they ask me about, what I do when they ask me that, which they wasn't that common before. So it's just kinda neat that it's shifted and
Yes.
changed so much of us as a family unit too. So,
Mm, mm.
so
I
many
love
blessings.
it. I love it. I love and all that we've been talking about in the last couple minutes has been all the ways that you integrated what you've learned, right, through
Yes.
this process, right? And so it was a very beautiful, um, true example of the integration and how that plays out because this mind body soul mastery and this living in alignment
Mm,
once we become aware of this information and we start to make changes or whatever we have to integrate and embody because we can't leave it all in our head. We can't let it
no.
all be logical intellectual knowledge. We have to get it within us. We have to do the inner work and let our body process the emotions. We have to allow ourselves to feel the grief and all that stuff. And that's that integration piece that is necessary in order to walk forward differently,
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
forward changed.
I agree, and it's like I always think about it as from feeling to sensing to knowing.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
that's kind of the feeling, sensing, knowing. And that to me, I've noticed that whole transition, and how your body responds to the truth.
Mhm.
When you hear something for the first time, you go, "That's so true," even if it's the first time you've ever heard it, right?
Yes.
Or how you get chills, or how you get, You get the little spideys on the back of your neck. Just, your body knows the truth.
Yeah. Or for generators, your sacral, that
Yeah.
space below your
Your
belly
tummy.
button,
Yes, I get
your
fluttery
tummy.
tummy. Yep.
Yes, like those are the sensations to start paying attention to in your body, right? Because your body
Yep.
is agreeing or telling you something, right? So it's,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Giving me the hell yes that I'm looking for.
Yes.
It's like, this is a go.
Yes, I love it. So, last question, because we have a gamut of things we've talked about. It's been such a beautiful conversation. I would just like you to speak to any listener who might be sitting out there in, a similar moment, whether they've just lost someone or are sitting in their grief or whatever it is. What could you gently offer them from your experience to help them take a next step or to make a change?
I would just say, this is an opportunity. This
Mm,
is an opportunity for you to just get curious about yourself, you know, because I think when you lose somebody, you feel out of control. I think that's when we get fearful is when you feel like things are out of control. Obviously, the loss of Kim, it was out of my control. So when you're in that position, what you can control is you. And this is an
yes.
opportunity to go within, get curious about yourself. Start asking yourself questions you never have before. Just one question, why am I so sad? What can I
Mm,
do different today? How can I look for the good
mm,
in this? What's a blessing here for me? I think any
yeah.
of those tiny little steps. Write something down, because when you write, you have to be present to do that.
Yes. Oh,
So I
I
think
love
that's
it.
another really important thing. If you can do anything that will keep you in the present, because when we're in grief, we are spinning about the past. We're worried about how the future is going to be without this person. But if you stay right here in the moment,
Hmm.
that is powerful, and
Hmm.
you immediately feel better once you just stay here. So I hope that helps.
Ah, helped me. Just
Oh,
a reminder to me, right? This staying in the present, in the very much in the now. Absolutely. Kim, this has been such a soul stirring and deep conversation. Thank you so much for your honesty and authenticity with me. I told you at the beginning, my intention is to provide hope and inspiration. And
yeah.
even in something around death and loss and grief, there still can be hope and inspiration that comes from sharing the story. And you are a living testament to that. You're a living testament. And speaking about Kim is a way that you continue to honor her, the life that she had, as well as all that the gift and the blessing her death has been for you. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here and sharing that with me and the listeners.
It's my pleasure. I hope someone gets some value out of our conversation.
So for our listening friends, if this conversation stirred something in you, I invite you to take a moment to pause and reflect and simply ask, what was in this for me? What did I hear that I resonated with? What did I hear that I need to do something with? And then go journal about it or share that awareness with a friend. If you're a verbal processor, you probably aren't going to go sit with it yourself or go write about it. So go share it with a trusted friend who has the space and the emotional capacity to have a conversation with you and allow this information, allow this conversation, allow the words that resonated with you to integrate into
Mm,
your journey and your growth. So
yes.
you can find all the links for Julie and the work that she does and myself in the show notes. And until next time, keep leaning into your truth and honoring your journey. This is Brenda Stott Tomlinson, and you're listening to Mind, Body, Soul Mastery.